Okay, we're talking. Welcome to Derry, episode 5. We get Maddie returning to the losers. We get the military going in to get Pennywise, which finally brings the return of your boy, Bill Skarsgård. And we also get the opening of the box. This is Minor League Films. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that sub button. Got my guy Scotty with me. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
We should go back.
So, Scotty, episode 5. We start out here with Hollerin. He goes into Tangle's mind the last episode, finds out the location of the crystals, and he gets everything he needs to go find them.
Yeah, he's snitching. And he sees that it's a bad idea. He's like, you know what? Boom, I did all that work. I'm sweating. Let me go in here and just tell the military everything. All the bad ideas that I have in my head, I'm gonna tell all the military. So I have a little bit of a theory that Hollerin don't give a fuck about the military. Because he just said, go ahead and go in there and die. It's okay. I'll be right behind you.
Yeah, I think we've gotten to feel Hollerin knows the danger. Obviously, he still has some loyalty, and they kind of at this episode they'll find out the dangers that they actually will face going in after Pennywise. But he gets that location and cracks his mind, tells the military, and they're all full go from there. After that, we visit with Marge, who's in the hospital after almost cutting through her eye in the last episode. Lily goes to visit her, and she lets the people know that, hey, Lily's actually not crazy.
Which I like that part. I like that Marge is still alive because I was going to be so mad if Marge actually had died from that or something. And then they said, oh, well, Lily is just now going to be feared by the town. They're trying to locate Lily. I thought they would go in the episode with Lily kind of missing because he was on the run or something. I like that they squashed it in 5 seconds, said, no, I told everybody you're innocent. And I also like the scene with Rich that's right in between with that scene where Lily's like, yeah, everybody still thinks I did it. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. And Marge is trying to, all the rest of the kids are trying to like calm her down, say, no, Marge told the truth. And Rich is like, nah, everybody thinks you're crazy. I like Rich a lot because Rich has no filter at all. I didn't think I was going to like him that much. I like Rich a lot.
No, I do like that kid too. And I do like the fact that we kind of reflect on like Marge. She's had this experience with Lily, and she's like, well, she's got a little screw loose. Maybe it's because she lost her dad. Maybe it's this or that. And now that she's finally seeing something we've never really seen with Pennywise, really in somebody's head and messing with them, she's like, oh, all this stuff you've been going through, hearing kids in the sewers, like this stuff, I'd say, hey, just keep that to yourself. Like, you haven't been lying about it. And now I'm with you. And Marge essentially joins the losers group from there. We also have another member back for the loser group, Maddie. He shows back up. Obviously, they hear, so they're up in the tower, and they hear somebody coughing in the tent, and they're like, well, who is that? And obviously thinking Pennywise is messing with them. Good foreshadowing. And then Maddie shows back up out of nowhere. Like, Maddie, where'd you come from? Well, I survived down the sewers. He keeps a couple of us alive due to fear, which is a logical explanation. Mm-hmm. And when I had the chance during the daytime, when Pennywise sleeps, I've escaped.
Yeah, and I like that explanation too. I was very intrigued when Will kind of got, not Will, what's his name? Maddie. When Maddie got away from him in the sewers, I was like, huh. You think the clown would have like tailed him a little bit or done something? So right away, I was kind of suspicious. I was like, okay, this is not going to be Maddie. He's not letting anybody escape. Fear or no fear.
So I real quick, I've thought for a while, I was like, a couple clues there for Maddie might still being alive. One, unlike the others, we didn't actually see him die in the first episode. We just kind of see a foreshadowing that he may have died. So he could have survived. Another thing too, if you remember when Lily went to the grocery store and obviously Pennywise messed with her in the store, we got a glimpse of the cereal boxes. The cereal boxes had all the other kids on there except Maddie. So the fact that Maddie was not shown on there, you see other kids decaying, was kind of a foreshadowing, and people have picked up on it that he might still be alive. So I thought there might be a chance for Maddie to show back up, and obviously he shows back up in this episode. We'll get back to that in a second, but in between that, we get Rose going to talk to the military, and Shaw basically confirms, hey, you know, like you said, he remembered what happened in this town, and also he confirms that, yeah, we want to capture it and use it as a weapon.
Yeah. And not only that, he confirms that he got all his memories back before he even came back to the town. He didn't specify the drug, didn't give any street name like Lily's mom's drug. He just said, hey, I was administered a drug and all of my memories came back. So I knew exactly what I was doing. I'm just an asshole is basically what he said. So I'm here to dismantle everything your tribe has done. I'm here to take away any safety blanket you have provided this town, and I'm going to send everybody down there to die. How you feel about that, Rose? And Rose is like, what? He's like, good job. Let's do it.
Actually, that might be before Rose got there. I think I jumped that a little bit, but that does happen later. But I think he tells Hanlon, yeah, we want to use this as a weapon. And he asks Hanlon for his team to go in there and secure it. Yes, Rose hasn't showed up yet, but that does happen a little later. So he basically confirms that what we all pretty much guessed all along. Getting back to the Losers Club, they asked Maddie basically what happened down there. He basically describes what goes on. He says, like Teddy was already dead when he got down there. He said Susie came in with one arm, so she was bleeding, obviously, until she was crying until she stopped. Basically, foreshadowing, she bled to death, and she was like, Phil is down there still alive. He can't talk, but he can't talk or move, but he's still down there, which prompts the kids to say, hey, we got to go help Phil out. If he's down there, no one's believing us. We got to go down there and help him, or we go to the police. Now, this is one of the red herrings of the episode right here. So they're like, Maddie, we got to go to the police. We got to go tell him. He said, hey, no cops. I'm not dealing with the cops, because what they're going to do, they're going to send me back to my dad. And he said something that caught my attention. He says, I'd rather go back to the sewers than go back home with my dad, because I ran away once. I'll do it again. Now look, I understand it might be abusive at home, but he don't got a 6'5" monster clown serial killer from outer space at home. Like, I don't care. For when he said that, I'm like, look, I don't care who your dad is or how bad. Or after we finish Welcome to Derry, we need to go and say Welcome to Maddie's house. We need to figure out who his dad is and what he's doing.
Because the first episode, you saw that Maddie had some kind of issues because he was willing to go in the car with anybody. Didn't matter who it was. So he must have had some serious issues at home. But like you said, I can't imagine him getting his arms bitten off or limbs getting bitten off. But, his dad must have been a piece of work. And you do see his dad in this episode. His dad is a piece of work, probably an alcoholic, probably hits on him a lot.
Yeah. No, we definitely can establish his dad is abusive. But after going down there, we know it's down the sewers from obviously all the other and in the movies and stuff. We know, like, you've seen, even just taking what he said. If you see a kid come down there would have his brains out and a clown eat his brains, a girl comes down there missing an arm, bleeding to death, and Phil goes down there, he can't move, basically paralyzed. Like, I don't care what your house situation look like. I'm not going back down there. Like, I'll go home before I go back. I'll get beat on. At least I will live. So that prompts a question in my mind. But basically, he says, I'd rather go back down to the sewers, which gives Susie an idea, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So cut to the Native American tribe here, and they kind of confirm what we thought, the 27-year cycle of missing people going on, a big event happening, which Welcome to Derry hasn't got there yet, and basically kind of what goes on with the town. And you caught something that they said Pennywise does as well.
Yeah, like it says that excuse me, his presence and stuff he's been doing has been tainting the town's water system. So that might be a reason why we see most of the town's people either nonchalant or violent. Because they mentioned the town being more violent as the murders go on. It keeps getting more violent, and then when he's gone during that hiatus, then it's peaceful around that town. So I do enjoy them giving us little tiny hints, but not too much about what it does in the shadow. I think that's pretty cool. That's a cool little touch on the show.
Yeah, I like that a lot. If you recognize that, 'cause I remember that and I thought about it, but I didn't think about it too deeply. You thought about it a little more, and that does make a lot of sense. So from there, a lot going on in this episode. So we jump to Hank, and he's on his way to Shawshank. Obviously, before he gets there, he almost gets shot.
Yeah, by Maddie's dad. Maddie's dad looks like a dirty drunk guy. So you can just imagine what he's going on. He's an alcoholic, beating on his kid all day. I think his mother passed away. Maybe did Maddie's mom pass away? Something like that.
I don't know for sure, but I would guess.
Yeah, I didn't see the mother there. So I mean, it's the father was angry. He's about to shoot Hank before he gets on the bus and he gets shot. What I think was really cool was it was posing as that police officer in that room, just like, yeah, we gonna get on. Yeah, you thought it was and Charlotte looks at him, was like, oh shit, that's not a regular white guy.
Yeah,
something going on.
Yeah, I had that too. And there's a Charlotte who we talked about. She, well, while we known for Leroy Hamlin and obviously Will, they both been able to see Pennywise and what he's been able to do. Charlotte hadn't seen it yet, so this is our first confirmation that she can actually see Pennywise. So she's another adult that can now see it, and kind of this is kind of new for us. So to confirm that she can see it too. So I'm sure that will come up in the future as well. Because Charlotte is one of the people I'm wondering, like, she's very investigative. Is she going to make it through the season? So we know the other two. We know Will and Leroy will be all right, but Charlotte, it's still up for question. So moving on, later on, Halen obviously talks, obviously we talked to General Shaw about going to capture it. He obviously says, "You let my family go in that town, and I need to get them out of there." Basically, you set us up for failure.
Like, that's the worst thing ever. He's like, "Oh, you want to live in the town?" And he even said, Shaw's like, "Well, I did suggest you stay here." No, you suggested we stay here. You didn't say, "Hey, don't stay there. There's a killer clown over there. You should be over here." Like, this is your like, and he thinks that my thing is this: the general has Hamlin way up here because of how he has no fear, and we see that throughout this episode and throughout the series. He doesn't have any kind of fear response. So you think he would have wanted to keep his like prize soldier in the base and would have told him more about what's going on. But I see that the pacing of the show, it makes sense. It makes sense. But at the same time, I'm like, sir, like, what if he died in the town?
Yeah, or his family died, and that would have drove him not to be useful. Like,
Yeah.
a couple of things here where I understand why he didn't just lay that on him. He's kind of brought him along slow, but also too, you could have had a scene where, hey, like, I certainly suggest you stay on the base. Like, he's really trying to sell him, and he's like, no, my wife did that for a while. Just want to let her go to town, and she just can't be convinced. I feel like they could have delivered that a little better, but I understand why he did what he did. So and was able to go home and tell Charlotte, hey, we got to get out of here. They finally had that conversation, which is great because I felt like through the It series, the way the people are, you don't have a lot of those, like, I gotta tell you, shit's really going on. Kids don't tell parents. Parents don't tell each other. In this show, they are kind of breaking that rule of people actually talking when stuff is going down. So I think that's a nice touch here. So obviously, this is where Rose shows up to the military base because they've captured Daniel. Talks to Shaw, letting him know, hey, you don't know what's going out there. Shaw says, hey, I got the memory. This is something we're going to try to control. And she says, hey, well, let me go with you. I know how to handle this. She's obviously done it before, as we have that flashback with Shaw and Rose. And he says, look, I can't let you. It's a military thing. And she says, well, you have Tango in your custody. Let me give him something, and he'll be able to lead you there and help you out. So obviously gives Tango the crystal and lets him know, hey, this is how you're going to keep yourself safe. Keep this on you. You'll be all right. So moving unless you have something on that, moving on.
No, that's perfect. That's pretty much all that happened. Like, Rose kind of went there, and Shaw just like, hey, yeah, we abducted your nephew unlawfully. We're going to detain him unlawfully. We're going to have him in this expedition in the sewers unlawfully. Do you have anything else you want to say? And she's like, I do. He said, nope, shut the fuck up. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not letting that slide. My plan is my plan.
James Remar, just real quick, James Remar is doing a really good job of being like a stone cold, stone face military general. Like, we've seen him act this in a couple roles. I brought this up before. He also was Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He is playing the same role. This is Raiden, but it's a little meaner.
I think he's doing a good job of also being a general, but also being personable. And I think the show has done things in there to write him in where he does feel like a person. And we obviously know how the military is. Not everybody likes their instructions. Not everybody likes the orders. And obviously it comes from the top. And if they feel like we have a weapon that can end the Cold War, regardless of who's in danger or whatever, they're going to go try to get it. So it kind of makes sense of, like, if I brought this idea, they're saying, you know about this, go get it. Like, he's really to the point where regardless of the danger, he's got to do what he's got to do. And it's putting people in danger's line, but it's the military. And we all know how the military works. So
you're right. He does seem like he cares about the soldiers that we see him interacting with. We do seem like he does care about those soldiers. He just always has that bottom line on his mind, which is, let's get this damn weapon. Even if it kills the whole town, that's okay. We'll just use it against another town we don't like. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. So obviously gets that idea. She tells Daniel, gives him that, and moving on. So in between that time, Halen gets his family out of town, and then we find out that Hank's bus crashes and that he escapes. One beef I have with that, I always hate when episodes just have the news playing at the perfect time.
Yep. Turn the TV on, like, oh, look what's on here. Unless they, especially back then, because back then they didn't have like that same story running over and over and over again. It's different now that we have phones and stuff. But yeah, but you know, I let that go.
You let it go, but that's always one of the beefs. Always one of the beefs I have.
Yeah, and I was sitting there, I was like, man, I thought it was also strange. It's just me. I'm sure they'll go into it a little bit more, but I thought it was strange when his bus crashed and whatever attacked it, because we're assuming that it's it, right?
I don't know, but they said whatever hit the bus, they have no idea what it was. They don't have reporting, just the bus crashed.
So yeah, but what Hank says when he actually is able to talk to someone this episode, he makes a remark saying, I don't know what happened, but it was tearing through the bus and it was tearing through the inmates so I'm assuming it's it, but it's really weird that if it was it, they would let him, on only him, survive. What is it about him?
Also, too, it's a question of if it's it, because that's not his usual MO. He's not
at all
a bus full of adults with weapons, and like that's not usually people that are, there's more people that can defend themselves other than the kids. Because obviously you see the kids, it's like you can't defend yourself at all. Adults, especially with cops on the bus holding the inmates, they're not exactly vulnerable. So,
so that's another mystery. I like that the show is not just all about it, and it has a whole bunch of intertwining stories in here. It's a fun watch. Like, it's a fun enough watch where when I see all these stories going on, I'm writing down stuff I want to talk about, that I have more than one subject to talk about. Because the It movies and the old It movies, all we talked about was kids It. That's it. So I enjoy this show. Is knocking out the park for me.
Yeah, it definitely expands on it. So maybe we'll work some theories on that. I think that's interesting. What's going on with the bus situation? Obviously, Will is able to dip out and get back with the losers because he made a promise. So he said, "Hey, regardless, I don't care what I tell my parents. I made a promise. I'm gonna show up." So, so he gets back there. Obviously, Lily in that time talks to Ingrid, and then she gets the idea like, "Hey, if I can help, I will help." Obviously, gets more drugs and has the idea and tells the others, "Hey,
hold on, brother. We gotta interject."
Go ahead.
When she goes to Ingrid's house and her husband stands up, first of all, shout out to her husband for looking so menacing when he stood up. So when he stood up, I said, "Oh, my theory is real. It is all up in that family." My theory was nowhere near real. The husband is just a dirty asshole. Like, he stood up, and the lines that he gave, which are very few lines. But when he came over there and looked, and Ingrid was like, you remember Lily, right? This is the girl that was here. Boom, boom. Lily, this is my husband. Husband listen to Lily like, Ingrid, what you cooking? Steak? Bitch, you better not fuck it up like you did last time with motherfucking curtains out here. Yeah. It says in front of the child. I said, I see why Ingrid is like leaving the house so much.
Trying to get up out of there. That was a good part. I forgot we talked about Pennywise maybe having the influence, or Ingrid, or she being another version of Pennywise is out there, and they did a good. I think they thought everybody had that theory, so they had to foreshadow that part, had him stand up looking menacing, and it's like, oh, this guy. I see why you leave. You just don't want to be around. Why you marry him in the first place? It's always the question I have when we get here.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
but yeah. So.
Wait, one more thing, sir. I do want to shout out Pennywise 5662 for saying that what the drugs were that Lily is giving her friends, that their Valium, but at that time it was diazepam. I did some additional research, looked that up, and find all the uses for them. That was a good call out, because that would have been in my head, just like, oh, that's a mystery. Like, I thought it was cool that kids were just calling it that, but that's a real thing they used to call Valium, was Mommy's little helper, because women were using that when they were stressed out. So that was cool. Shout out to him. Shout out to that user for telling me that.
Yeah. So we got that there, and then Lily moves on and gets back, and they decide to go. So also at the same time, we have the military shuts down the block. We go back to the old Pennywise house, a house from Pennywise from It 2017. I feel like they would have knocked this house down by now.
That's what I was
long, and like no residential place has been like, let's knock this down. It's got to be some Pennywise power in there, but in the real world logic, it doesn't work. And we have the worst military operation ever assembled. Scotty, first thing with this, they shut down the block, gas leak. Got about 50 dudes show up, military, like tanks, they got about 50 people. They sent in like 8.
Yeah.
They send in 8. Obviously, we get down to sewers, and as I said,
No,
the kids,
they sent in 5, I think. Just
it
5.
was a little more than 5, but it
Was
felt
it?
like 8. Like
Oh
maybe
god.
8, including Tangle. So obviously, the kids are going in the same time after they take the drugs, but military gets in there a couple of things, and like I said, I knew this was going to go one or two ways: really silly, or it's going to get really creative. But like they get in there, one, no one is paying attention if the team is staying together. They get down
Yeah.
to the sewers, no one's looking behind them. And not even to the fact of like when Hollerin jumps in, they start to get split up because obviously Pennywise starts messing with his mind when he's down there, which we kind of knew that was going to come. Another thing was like they get split up into like 3 different groups. So I'm like, not only are y'all not paying attention to what's happening behind you, how did Halen and his group get separated from where Tanya was? Because you're not even paying attention to what's in front of you. And I don't
Nobody.
remember a plan where they were all supposed to split up down there because Tanya was the only one that can lead them to the crystals. So there's no reason for them to be splitting up. And obviously, we know it's going from there. But I'm like, you had what we've known. You've known the danger of this thing. Hollerin's talked about it. Shaw has talked about it because he remembers. And you send your Y team, and I only call it we always joke the A team. I only call it the Y team because why don't you send them dudes down there?
And not only that, the like you think that the last person on the team will be checking behind him or something like that. When Tanya, the worst part about it is when Tanya goes to run away, and the soldier that's behind him shoots off 40 clips at him. He wastes all his ammo at. I was watching and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, he's yelling at him, bringing attention to himself. The yelling is enough, but he shot. I think I count it. He might have shot like 18, 19 bullets down the sewer.
To worry, that's not the person you want to kill down there.
Yeah.
You have no idea how to navigate the tunnels or where the crystals are. So, not the best idea. Have no idea how Hamlin's team got separated. And obviously, the last two, like you just felt. And one, they were told when they get down there, if you see something that looks like it doesn't belong, start shooting.
Yeah.
Very, really relevant because we're going to get back to this a little later. Those last 2 soldiers saw something they know they didn't belong. Don't shoot, just scream.
Yep.
Also, too, and this may be a little bit of beef with the writing. Why do we get some tall skeleton version of Uncle Sam? Like that would be something they're afraid of. I just thought that was like, I felt like you could get down there, you can get really creative and just have monsters running all over the place. Maybe they're not afraid because they're trained and it just finds a way to take them out or finds a way to make them like hallucinate and shoot each other. And that could have been a better way to take that. I feel like that could have just been executed better, but I had the feeling it was going to go goofy.
I think that what you're saying would have been better, but I also think that Pennywise isn't only about fear, right? We saw it in some of the old movies and new movies. Sometimes he's just a dickhead. So, and he's a funny dickhead sometimes. So I think him being Uncle Sam to military members was less about them being afraid and more about him killing them. I find that weird. A whole bunch of it happens a lot. Like a lot of times we do see him just try to invoke fear, but there's other times we see him straight up saying, I'm coming to kill this person. I'm still going to appear as something that they might fear maybe, but a lot of times it seems like he's just coming to kill the adults and doesn't care about the whole fear thing when it comes to the adults. I don't know why that is. It could be an issue with the writing, but it seems like that whole fear thing is not applicable to everybody that he actually goes after.
Yeah, that possibly.
But I guess you'd be. I guess technically, I'd be afraid of that if a vision of Uncle Sam
unworldly, you'll probably be like, "What?" Like,
yeah.
no. So, at the same time that's going on, because we're splitting back and forth here, we have Hollerin, who we've seen a vision of his grandmother, who is still trying to help him through his powers, but obviously his grandfather walks in. Kind of a keynote here. His grandfather is probably some of an abusive figure or something like that, as we get from the vision. And he brings a box to him and says, "Hey, you got to open this box." And Hollerin says, like, hey, can't open that. It's not doing it. And his grandmother's helping him there. So he's fighting his own battle. Very also at the same time, we get Hamlin down there who starts getting messed with. Very interesting. I was looking forward to how this was going to go. Obviously, because he doesn't have fear. Obviously, Polly does, his partner. But he starts messing with Hamlin, first starts seeing his family in different objectives. I'm wondering if you saw that just so he wouldn't shoot them at first and Pennywise get close enough to take him out. Maybe that's the reason why, but obviously we see how Hamlin starts to adapt to that situation. At the same time, the kids are down there, and we have one of the bigger reveals. Obviously, Maddie walks him down there, says we're getting close, and we find out Maddie is not Maddie at all.
Yeah. So it's stretching his power to the kids group, to the military group in the town. I thought that was cool too. It shows that he's a lot more. Maybe he was more powerful at this time than he was in some of the later movies because they'd be able to stretch his they're not even illusions. Like he's stretching out physical manifestations of himself at different times. Like he's very very fast or he can stretch them out at the same time.
It's funny. So, he's just running back and forth to each spot. That would actually be really hilarious.
Speaking of reveals, we forgot to reveal that Hank, Ronnie's father, was actually messing around with Ingrid this whole time.
Well, that's a little bit after.
It's after?
Yeah, it's after. This
I'm getting ahead of my excuse.
We'll get to that in a minute. So he reveals himself. Obviously, the kids, while they went down in the first way, because they had no defense against Pennywise, which they already knew was dangerous. Just run, leave Lily behind. Obviously, at the same time, Hamlin's coming around. Obviously, we've seen him, Pennywise, be his wife. We've seen him try to manifest. So he says, hey, he looks at Polly. You see anything down here that should be down here, you shoot it. I don't care what it looks like. A really good setup for them walking down the hallway. Also, at the same time, like you said, Daniel runs and they shoot 50 times at him. It's all going at the same time, which was stupid. He drops a crystal. Very important later.
Oh, my God. When he dropped that crystal, I said, you didn't have to do that.
He dropped it. He lost it. He was like, it's just going to be somewhere around here. So he gets up out of there. Halen sees the kids coming down. He obviously sees Will. He's like, well, that ain't Will. He's got to go. And obviously that was Will because we know he was down there. Polly jumps in the way and he shoots Polly. I wish we got more time with these two because obviously that's the end of Polly as we know it. We do see it later on. But I wish we got more times with these two. I felt like this was a death that could have paid off more. For me personally, it didn't pay off as much because we just have gotten so little with them. So it didn't really feel like, oh, man, like we lost one of the kids. We spent a lot of time with them and be like, oh, man. With Polly, it was like, I kind of knew that was coming, and I wish we just got more of a payoff before this to make this moment be a little bigger.
Yeah, I like Paulie a lot. It seemed like he was true blue military friend of Hanlon. Seemed like him and Hanlon been through some things. I think Hanlon may have saved his life in the past. And then this is Paulie when he made a remark in this episode. This is his turn, I guess, to repay Hanlon for whatever they did. Maybe that's how Hanlon got his scar when he saved Paulie. And I'm sure they're going to have flashbacks throughout this of Hanlon being depressed and being upset. It's probably going to have some flashbacks about what happened to them. But yeah, I wish Paulie would have at least lasted. It is episode 5, and it's only 3 more episodes left. But I wish he would have lasted until like episode 7 or something. Give us make it more emotional for us as viewers because he didn't have enough time.
Yeah, we just need to spend a little more time with him. But obviously, the loss there. He obviously finds the kids. Lily was pretty much cooked down there. She runs. She doesn't know where she's going. She's also high. All the kids are pretty much high at this point off the drugs, which I thought was actually pretty funny. And we actually got a good moment with Rich and Marge in there that I skipped over, but of them holding hands. But
they did a good job of describing the side effects of that drug. You know, a lot of times people take drugs in movies and shows, they act the same. They did a good job of creating and having the kids act like they were on that drug where we can take Valium or take too much Valium rather. I thought that was a really nice touch to put on the episode.
Yeah, so Lily has no idea where she's going. She runs. Pennywise sees her, basically says, hey, this is what you get for being a good friend. Obviously goes to attack her, and the crystal lights up. So we finally see some interaction. Pennywise in the crystal. He obviously can't cross the crystal to get to Lily, so he basically backs up because he knows he's in danger, and Lily picks up the crystal and discovers what that is. Moving on, everybody's out of there except for Hollerin. Hollerin is kind of the last one to come out there. So he finally is able to get out of that situation, which we get back to the military where they're like, oh, what happened down there? And Hanlon tells them. But obviously Hollerin is the important part where he comes out of there and he is able to see Paulie, who is dead because he's passed away. So we will have something with that. And then the part you were talking about, where Ingrid and Hank, where he tells her what happened with the bus. And he also says, hey, we've been messing around this whole time. And this was the danger that I couldn't tell anybody about.
Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, I remembered this happened earlier. But you're right. It happened damn near at the very end where he's talking about how they whatever hit that bus, ripped all the prisoners apart and somehow left him alive. That's a mystery because like you said, that's not its MO to just go out of town and mess up a random prison bus full of prisons for no reason at all. I don't think he had anything to do with this. So now we have something additional that made it happen. Who knows?
Yeah, obviously we know it. We know Maturin's around. Obviously, wasn't Maturin because it just doesn't seem something in his characteristic to do. So obviously, like there's maybe something around here. And obviously, you touched on a good point. It being able to stretch himself. We can jump into this later when we have more time. But yeah, we didn't know. I didn't know he could stretch himself like that. I figured he was at one place at one time. You're someplace else. You're probably good. He's at like 3-4 places throughout this episode. So obviously, you see the power. It's good to see Bill Skarsgård back. And obviously, we are pretty much tuned. An action-packed episode, a lot really going on here. But we are tuned for a final 3-episode run where I feel like Hollerin and Hanlon now are going to look forward and say like, "Hey, forget what the military says. We got to take this thing out. We can't capture it." And we finally have that experience here. We're going to see how Shaw's reaction to that. Obviously, Will's going to get his ass whooped for disappearing out of the house. You know that's black household. You know that's coming.
Especially back then. Shit.
Yeah, and obviously, we have the kids now figuring out that plan is not going to work. So they got to figure out again what to do because they're still not safe. So just a ton going on in this episode. Kind of breathe through it there because Scotty's got to get out of here in a minute. But that's our recap.
I will say this, that I'm really anticipating, like, for all these 3 seasons, figuring out how it became weaker. I'm guessing something, even when the pillars are gone, I guess something happens that has to weaken him. Because remember, in the first It movie, in the second It movie, the kid's plan was, let's whoop his ass. And what they did was whoop his ass and got him out of there. These kids can't do that. They literally cannot whoop his ass. So he's maybe too strong. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do with these shards to maybe weaken him in, before his hibernation period and whatnot.
Yeah, I think they just haven't really figured it out yet. I feel like they can. Obviously, the kids in the first chapter and obviously in the 90s series, they all just say, "Hey, we brave up. If we lessen our fear and just go attack him." Obviously, they use a slingshot, and it's a better thing than just a slingshot when them believing they can kill him. Then obviously their powers grow, not really their powers, but his powers grow weaker, and he's a little more vulnerable to that. So we've had a lot of establishment of like him confirming like fear is how he keeps alive, is how he operates, is why he certainly can't kill people. That's why Will survive because he wasn't afraid enough yet from Pennywise. So I think they just haven't figured that part out yet, and that's something they can discover in these last 3 episodes as we go forward.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's again a ton happening. It's all we want to talk about. Probably we might break this down and talk about more key points in a short episode. But that's pretty much all we got. Scotty, let the people know where else they can find us at.
You can find us on TikTok at Kuronocomics. We also have a new page up, MLF Shorts, or you can find us right here, Minor League Films. Leave a comment. Tell us what you thought about the episode. Tell us how we forgot some names and mixed them up. Y'all love doing that.
Yeah, I think we got them mostly covered here. But yeah, a ton of this episode. Please like that video. Hit that sub button. Hit the comments. I put up a poll just yesterday. So let us know what you thought about the episode. Comment there and comment down on this video. Give us some stuff to talk about. Obviously, shout out to the person who shouted out the drugs, gave us something to kind of dig into. And we're going to see what more happened behind the scenes about this episode. Again, there's more to talk about. We got 3 episodes to go, and this series has been fantastic so far. Military has been fantastic, but this season has been fantastic so far, in our opinion. So yeah, like that video, hit that sub button. We'll be back to you soon. All that good stuff, Minor League Films here, and we will catch you next time.